Every business has expenses you can spot from a mile away. You've got payroll, customer service, training, marketing. Heck, maybe it's something as small as a pickle that comes with a sandwich. And sooner or later, somebody looks at the spreadsheet and says, do we really need this? Sometimes, yeah. The answer is no. Sometimes you don't need it. But sometimes that expense is tangled up with something the spreadsheet can't show you. A relationship, a customer experience, local knowledge, the ability to jump on an opportunity the second it shows up, or maybe just a reason somebody likes doing business with you in the first place. And that's the trap. Because a spreadsheet will tell you exactly what something costs, but it won't always tell you what it's worth. Today, we're talking about what happens when businesses get so obsessed with efficiency that they accidentally cut away the very thing that made them successful in the first place.
The dealer download powered by RS&I.
I was reading an Ad Age article recently that really got me thinking about where marketing's headed. The writer described the challenge facing modern brands as a kind of love triangle. Companies have to win hearts, they have to feed information to algorithms that can actually understand it, and now, increasingly, they've got to build systems that can do all of that at scale, efficiently. Honestly, I think that's dead on. But it raises a question I can't shake. We're getting incredibly good at optimizing things. We can measure conversions, cost per lead, transactions, employee productivity, response times, marketing attribution, you name it. We can turn it into data now, and AI is better about crunching all of those numbers than ever. So here's the question. What happens to stuff that's incredibly valuable and almost impossible to measure? I'm your host, Michael Shiverdecker. Welcome to another episode of the Dealer Download, powered by RS&I. Let's start with Starbucks, because it's a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. Howard Schultz built the whole company around the idea of the third place. Home is the first place, work is your second. Starbucks wanted to be the third place, somewhere where you could meet a friend, pop open your laptop, read, talk, or just sit with a cup of coffee and not be rushed. But over time, Starbucks got really good at something else entirely. The transaction. Mobile ordering blew up, stores had to figure out how to handle huge numbers of people who weren't there to sit and stay. They were just there to grab their drink on the app and go. Some locations pulled out seating. Starbucks even tried pickup-only stores for a while. And look, you can follow the logic. Fewer people lingering means you can serve more customers faster. Mobile ordering is convenient. More throughput looks like more efficiency on paper. Except Starbucks eventually realized something was slipping away. When Brian Niccol took over as CEO in 2024, one of the big ideas behind his Back to Starbucks strategy was bringing back the community coffee house feel. Comfortable seating came back, ceramic mugs came back, stores got redesigned to feel warmer again. They even walked away from the pickup-only format. Nichols actually admitted that pulling back on seating was one of the company's mistakes. Think about what that means. Starbucks got really good at optimizing the transaction, but somewhere in there, it chipped away at the exact experience that made people want the transaction to begin with. And now, they're spending a lot of money to bring it back. I had a conversation recently with someone who's got a long history with UPS. He told me about a group inside the company called Customer Solutions. UPS describes this team as working alongside sales to really understand a customer's business and build solutions around what they actually need. These aren't just customer service reps answering phones. These are real people who are building real relationships with businesses and understand their shipping needs inside and out and design solutions around them. According to this person I talked to, customer solutions still exists, but it's a shadow of what it used to be. He said people still get referred there, but there are so many requests and so few people handling them that can take a long time just to hear back. And that's just one guy's experience. But it got me thinking. Picture looking at a department like that purely as a line item expense. You know exactly what those employees cost, salary, benefits, travel, training. Cut the head count, and the savings show up almost overnight. But what's a relationship actually worth? What's it worth when someone understands a customer's business well enough to negotiate the right deal? What's it worth when a customer knows exactly who to call, and what does it cost you when an opportunity just disappears because nobody had the bandwidth to respond in time? Those numbers are a lot harder to find. The savings from a cut show up this quarter. The costs of a weakened relationship might not show up for years. I have seen a version of this myself in the broadcast industry. Before RS&I, I spent more than 2 decades in television. Toward the end of that run, I handled promotions for the Eastern Idaho and Western Wyoming market. Already a full plate, but there was another promotions director out in Bend, Oregon, carrying a similarly heavy load. After I left, the company consolidated the whole thing. Instead of keeping local resources in place, promotions for Eastern Idaho and Western Wyoming, Bend, and El Paso all got folded under the one promotions director in Bend. On paper, sure, I get it. Similar jobs, multiple markets, consolidate, cut the expense. And I'd bet the argument was some version of the work still gets done. But that phrase can hide a lot. The scheduled work probably still gets done. The stuff with hard deadlines probably still gets finished. But what about everything that never even makes the list? A salesperson has a promo idea that needs something by tomorrow, or there's a local event this weekend that would be perfect for the station. Somebody dreams up something great on Wednesday that needs to be ready by Friday, when everybody's already buried. That stuff just disappears. Not because someone wrote it down and dropped the ball. It just never made the list in the first place. Eventually, people stop asking. Sales learns promotions doesn't have the bandwidth, so they quit bringing over last-minute ideas. Local opportunities pass by because nobody's got the capacity to react. And then management looks at the workload and says, see, everything's getting done. But they're only measuring what survived the consolidation. The stuff that went missing was never marked incomplete. It just stopped happening. There's a customer service story that's been around for decades. And unlike some of these old business tales, this one's actually true. Bob Farrell, founder of Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor, once got a letter from a longtime customer. This guy had a routine, same meal every time. He always asked for an extra pickle. For years, the staff just gave it to him. No big deal. And then one day, a new employee told him he'd have to pay extra for it. We're talking about pennies here. Genuinely pennies. But the customer was so worked up about it that he wrote Farrell directly and said if that's how the place was going to run now, he wasn't going to come back. And here's the thing. Farrell realized pretty quickly that this guy wasn't actually mad about the price of a pickle. He was upset because Something he valued about the experience had just disappeared on him. Farrell took that complaint and turned it into an entire customer service philosophy. Give them the pickle. The pickle became shorthand for those little extras that make customers feel valued, the things that keep them coming back. And I think there's a much bigger lesson buried in there. Somebody looking strictly at food costs would easily say, why are we giving away extra pickles for free? They could run the math and tell you exactly how much money they'd save by cutting it. What they can't easily calculate is what it's worth to have a customer who's walked through your door once or twice a week for years. That's your pickle. Every business has something like that. Some small thing customers value way more than management ever realizes. And sometimes you don't find out how much it mattered until it's gone. Now, to be clear, none of this is an argument against efficiency. Businesses have to make money. Expenses matter. Productivity matters. If you're spending money on something that adds zero value, you should absolutely question it. The danger is confusing hard to measure with not valuable. Think about everything we've covered today. How do you put a number on having the capacity to respond tomorrow instead of next week? How do you measure an employee who knows a customer well enough to keep that account for another 10 years? How do you measure the person who chooses Starbucks because they genuinely like being there? You can measure some of that indirectly, but none of it fits neatly into a spreadsheet, the way payroll or a food cost would. And that creates a bias. Costs are visible right away. Value shows up later, if at all, on paper. So when the pressure's on to improve this quarter's numbers, that visible expense starts looking awfully tempting to cut. The spreadsheet knows exactly what you saved. It has no idea what you lost. Opportunity costs are real. They're a very real thing and should be considered. And all of that brings me back to that Ad Age article, because we're heading into an era where businesses are about to get dramatically better at optimizing everything. AI can chew through enormous amounts of customer data. Algorithms decide which ads people see. Automation handles more and more customer communication. CRMs track nearly every step of the sales process. All of that is genuinely useful. We should absolutely use it. But here's the catch. These systems optimize toward whatever goal you give them. Tell a system to cut customer service costs and it'll probably find a way. Tell it to boost transactions per employee, sure, it can help with there too. Tell it to trim marketing spend and it will spot efficiencies a human might never catch. But somebody still has to ask, what are we protecting here? Because if efficiency is the only goal, you can eventually become incredibly efficient at delivering something customers no longer care about. Technology should help us understand customers better. It shouldn't give us an excuse to forget they're human. For an authorized dealer, this lesson hits close to home. Your edge isn't outspending the biggest companies in the country. You probably can't, and that's fine. Your edge might be exactly the stuff that doesn't scale well. Maybe one of your salespeople spends too much time with customers, but the whole town knows her by name. Maybe someone spends 20 unpaid minutes helping an older customer move everything over to a new phone. Maybe your store sponsors a local event that doesn't come with an easy ROI number attached to it. And maybe you keep an extra person on the floor just so customers never have to wait. All of that costs money. And I'm not saying every one of those things is worth keeping. What I am saying is understand why it's there before you cut it. Because one of those things might be your pickle. It might be the reason people tell their friends about you. It might be why someone walks back through your door 3 years from now. And you may not find out how much it mattered until after it's already gone. So for today's Authorized Dealer Action Plan, I'm not handing you a checklist. I've got one question instead. What's your pickle? Think about your business the way a customer sees it. What's something you do that looks inefficient on paper? Maybe it's a personal service, maybe it's keeping enough people on staff to respond fast, maybe it's showing up for your community. Maybe it's that one longtime employee whose relationship took years to build. Now imagine cutting it tomorrow. Would your customers notice? If the answer is yes, make sure you understand what it's worth before somebody decides what it costs. Efficiency matters. Profit matters. Technology, it matters. And AI is about to hand businesses extraordinary new ways to improve all three. So use the tools, find the waste, sharpen your processes, measure your results. Just don't get so efficient at running your business that you erase the reasons people wanted to do business with you in the first place. Starbucks had its third place. UPS had its relationships. My old TV station had local knowledge and the ability to react fast. And somewhere, at least according to an old story, somebody had a pickle. Your business has something too. Know what it is. Protect what actually creates value. And remember, the spreadsheet can tell you exactly what something costs. It can't always tell you what it's worth. I'm Michael Shiverdecker, and this has been the Dealer Download, powered by RS&I. If today's episode got you thinking about your own business, share it with somebody who might need to ask the same question. And be sure to subscribe to the Dealer Download for more conversations about sales, marketing, technology, and building businesses that last. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
The Dealer Download, powered by RS&I.